Good morning everyone. Today you will study about female reproductive system of human being. The female reproductive system consists of the following parts. These are a pair of ovaries, accessory ducts like fallopian tubes. It is also known as oviduct, uterus, vagina, cervix, either cervical canal, and the external genitalia. It is also known as vulva, which consists of mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, and hymen. This is the diagram of the female reproductive system of the human being. In female, the ovaries are considered as a primary sex organ. A pair of ovaries present in the female reproductive system in the abdominal region, in either side of the abdomen, in the pelvic region, and ovaries are considered as the primary sex organ because ovary produces the female gamete, that is egg, by the process of oogenesis. Oogenesis is actually the process of the production of ovum or egg inside the female ovary. How the ovum is produced by the ovary during the process of oogenesis, this is a separate process, oogenesis. This topic I will teach you later on in this chapter. But here you have to see the diagram of the female reproductive system. How many parts are there of the female reproductive system and what are their functions? You have to learn. The ovaries also produce the female hormones. So many hormones we will discuss later on about their details, like estrogen, progesterone, relaxin. These hormones are secreted by the ovary. So ovary has two functions mainly, that is the production of ovum, and the second one is the production of female hormones, and these female hormones are estrogen, progesterone, and relaxin. You can see here, as I told you, how many ovaries are there? Two ovaries on either side of the pelvic region. This is the right ovary and this one is the left ovary. Now from the ovary you can see here the second one. This is a duct, fallopian tube. This one is the, from here up to here, this is the fallopian tube. The ovary is just in the contact of the part of the fallopian tube which is called infundibulum. Actually, infundibulum is just a funnel shaped in structure. This is the funnel shaped structure. This funnel shaped structure is called the funnel shaped structure of oviduct or fallopian tube is called infundibulum. The terminal portion, or you can say the apex of the infundibulum, it has some adaptations. You can see in the diagram, it has the finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections are called fimbriae. So fimbriae is actually the part of the  Now the infundibulum, this funnel shaped structure, it becomes wide, and this wider part of the fallopian tube is called ampulla. This is the ampulla, this wider part. Again, it is extended, it goes towards the uterus, and this ampulla, this wider part, it becomes again narrow, and this narrow part of the fallopian tube, this is called isthmus. So the fallopian tube, or you can say oviduct, is divided into how many parts? How many parts are there? Infundibulum, ampulla and isthmus. These are the parts of oviduct, or you can say fallopian tube. And this is the, because this is right ovary, you can say this is the right fallopian tube, right oviduct. This is the left ovary, so here the same structure will be there, and this is the left fallopian tube. The structure is same in right and left. The ampulla and isthmus junction, here where the ampulla and isthmus both meets together, the ampulla isthmus junction is the site of the process of fertilization. Where the process of fertilization takes place in the female, you have already studied in class 10th, that is fallopian tube or oviduct is the site of the fertilization in female, in human female, but especially in fallopian tube also the process of fusion or fertilization takes place in the ampulla isthmus junction. It's very, very important for you. While the infundibulum, it forms the finger-like projections. Here you can see when the ovum is produced inside the ovary, the ovum is released from ovary and where it goes to the fallopian tube, and this finger-like projection of the fallopian tube, or you can say the infundibulum, helps to catch, to collect the ovum which is released by the ovary. So overall, ovary produces the ovum which goes to the fallopian tube. Inside the fallopian tube, in the epithelial cells, so many finger-like projections are also there, minute, the cilia-like structures. These cilia-like structures, they help to propel, to push the egg or ovum towards the ampulla isthmus junction for the process of fertilization. The wall, or you can say the layer of the fallopian tube, is made up of a special type of ciliated epithelial tissues, and this ciliated epithelial tissue the cilia helps to push the ovum from infundibulum towards the ampulla isthmus junction for the process of fertilization. So ovary produces the ovum and fallopian tube helps to transfer the egg to the uterus, and fallopian tube also helps in the process of fertilization because it is the site of the process of fertilization. Now, the fallopian tube is followed by which part? Uterus. Uterus is also known as womb, W-O-M-B, womb in the female. And you know, uterus is the site of implantation, as well as uterus is also the site where the gestation period is completed in female. Implantation means the attachment of the fertilized egg to the wall of uterus, and this is called implantation, and after implantation the whole pregnancy period, that is scientifically called gestation period, is completed into the uterus. Means here the fetus, the zygote or the fertilized egg requires 9-month duration, 280 days time for the complete development of the fetus. This is the site where pregnancy period is completed, means the gestation period is completed. And as you know, after the completion of the gestation period, after the 280 days, 9 months and 10 days, the fetus ejected comes outside through the vagina, and this process is called parturition. All these terminology I will teach you in the next topic in detail. The uterus is a pear-shaped structure. It is a sac. It is a muscular sac. This part, uterus, has also the different parts. This one is the uterine fundus. This is the part where both the fallopian tubes combines together. This upper part is called uterine fundus. This is mainly the central part. This is called uterine cavity. This is the body of the uterus. Then the cervix. Actually, this is the last part of the uterus, which is narrow. And the canal in the cervix is called, this is called cervical canal. So overall, this uterus has mainly the following parts: uterine fundus, the uterine cavity, uterine walls, the terminal portion of the uterus, this is called cervix. The wall, this is the wall of the uterus. The uterine wall, W-A-L-L, the uterine wall is made up of 3 layers, and these layers are endometrium, myometrium and perimetrium. The perimetrium is the outer layer of the uterus wall. It is thin. The middle layer, it is called myometrium. It is thick and muscular. And the innermost layer of the uterine wall is called endometrium. So how many walls are there of the uterus? 3 walls. The upper one is called perimetrium. The middle one is called myometrium. The innermost layer of the uterus is called endometrium. The wall of endometrium is highly glandular. This is the part where the fertilized egg or zygote embedded. So the wall is highly glandular to nourish the developing fetus. This is the part, the terminal part of the uterus, which is narrow. This is called cervix. And the canal in the cervix is called cervical canal. And this cervix opens into the vagina. Means the cervix connects the uterus to the vagina, or you can say the cervix is the narrow muscular part which lies in between the vagina and the uterus. The vagina, as you know, it receives the sperms from the male during the process of sexual coitus, sexual intercourse, sexual reproduction. It receives sperms, and the sperms moves upward through this vagina, finally where it comes to the uterus. Then from the uterus goes to the fallopian tube, and where the process of fertilization takes place. The vagina also acts as the birth canal. It not only receives the sperms during the process of copulation, even after the completion of the gestation period, it helps in the process of parturition, means the ejection of fetus outside to the female body, means the process of birth also takes place through this part. The next part, this is called external genitalia. This is called vulva. This is the external part of the female reproductive organs, not shown in this diagram. You can see here. The first one is the mons pubis. This is the upper part, mons pubis. It contains so many pubic hairs in the female. This is the cushion shaped structure made up of the fatty tissues. This is the mons pubis. Then just below to the mons pubis, a thick fold of the skin is to be there. This is called labia. This is called labia. Labia majora. It also contains the pubic hairs. Then it is followed by a layer. This is called the labia minora. The labia minora is very smooth and don't have the pubic hairs. In the labia minora, in the center part, there is a depression. This is called vestibule. And the this vestibule has two openings. The upper one is called urethral opening, and this one is the vaginal openings. Means in the depression, the two openings are present, and these are urethral and vaginal openings, and both are consist together. It forms a depression that is called vestibule. Just above to the urethral opening, an organ is there that is called a clitoris. The clitoris actually gives the pleasurable sensation at the time of sexual reproduction in female when it comes into the contact of the male copulatory organ, that is penis. And here the vaginal aperture is covered by a membranous structure, and that is called hymen. The hymen is generally torn up or ruptured during the first coitus, during the first intercourse, but sometimes the hymen is also ruptured during the sports, during the horse riding, or sometimes during the jolts. It can be ruptured. So the presence of hymen or absence of hymen is not the indicator of the virginity in the female. Generally it is ruptured during the process of the first sexual coitus, intercourse, but the hymen can be ruptured during the jolts, during the sports, during the bicycling, during riding the horse. Means other factors are also there for rupturing of the hymen. So it's not a that once the hymen is ruptured, it means the female is not virgin. It is not the reliable method that to indicate whether the female is virgin or non-virgin. Now, this is all about the female reproductive system. Once again you can see ovaries, which I told you about the ovaries. The ovary produces ovum, and ovary also produces the female hormones, and these hormones are estrogen, progesterone and relaxin. Fallopian tube, the site of fertilization. Uterus, the site of implantation and gestation period. And vagina, which receives the sperms from the male at the time of copulation, and it also acts at the birth canal. Now, some other topics which are related to the female reproductive system you have to learn, that is about oogenesis, ovulation, then implantation, then gestation, then parturition. Parturition. These are the some technical terms related to the female reproductive system. Once again you can see here oogenesis. The oogenesis, what is oogenesis? As I told you, oogenesis is the process of the production of ovum by the ovary. Not both the ovaries, they produce the ovum at the same time in the same month. Suppose a particular ovary, actually in female reproductive system, I will teach you in detail in menstrual cycle, only one ovum is prepared within a month by a particular ovary. Suppose in a particular month the right ovary is producing the ovum, in the next month the left ovary will produce. So in the alternate fashion the ovum is produced by their respective ovaries. And the process, when the process of oogenesis or the ovum is matured, when the female attains the puberty, the onset of, as you know, the menstrual cycle in the female, which starts generally at the age of 12-13 in female, a little bit earlier than the male, and the first, or you can say the onset of the menstrual cycle in female, this is called menarche, and the permanent stoppage of the menstrual cycle in the age of 50 or 55, this is called menopause. So the starting of the menstrual cycle, or you can say the first menstrual cycle in female, this is called menarche, and the permanent cessation, the permanent stoppage of the menstrual cycle in the age of 50 to 55, this is called, the last menstrual cycle is called menopause. So female is not fertile throughout their lifetime. After the menopause, the female can't be conceived. She can't produce the offspring, while the male can produce the sperms throughout their lifetime. The process of the production of ovum inside the ovary, this is called oogenesis, and the whole steps of the oogenesis we will discuss in the next topic. Just you have to remember, you have to learn the definition of all these terminology. Oogenesis means the process of the production of ovum. Suppose this is the ovary and this one is the ovum, and this process is called oogenesis. When the ovum is produced by the ovary, then ovum from the ovary, where it comes inside the fallopian tube, and this process of the release of ovum from ovary to the fallopian tube, this is called ovulation. It means ovulation is the process of the release of ovum from ovary to the fallopian tube. The ovulation is followed by fertilization. What is fertilization? Suppose the ovum, then it comes where? As I taught you, in the embryo-isthmus junction. If the ovum is present here in the embryo-isthmus junction in the mid of the menstrual cycle, and in the same time, if the sperms, the female comes into the contact of the male, and the male discharges sperms, the sperms goes upward, and where finally it comes, the sperm, it comes to the fallopian tube, and here the sperms and egg both are fused together to form what? Zygote. So fertilization is the process of the fusion of sperm and ovum to form zygote. During the process of fertilization, first the female receives the sperms from the male. The sperms through the vagina, it goes upward, and finally so many sperms are released by the male. Millions of each ml of semen may have nearly millions of the sperms. You can't imagine. Some of the sperms, they get killed by the acidic medium of the vagina or the female reproductive organs, because inside the female reproductive organ, generally the nature is acidic. So most of the sperm, they get killed due to the acidic environment. Some of the sperms, they go to the wrong direction. Suppose the egg is ready in the left side, the sperms may move towards the right direction. So to increase the chance of fertilization, the male produces millions of the sperms during each ejaculation, during the transfer. Ejaculation means transfer of the semen inside the female reproductive organ. After fertilization, the fertilized egg, what is the product of the fertilized egg? That is zygote. Not on the same day the zygote comes inside the uterus. Then the zygote divides repeatedly. And just within in a week time, the zygote, well, this one is the sperm and this is the egg. This is zygote. This is the nucleus of the zygote. The zygote, it forms a ball-like structure, and this structure is called blastocyst. We will discuss in the embryonic development of the human in detail about what is blastocyst. But blastocyst is the early embryo in which the number of cells are limited. They are nearly 16 to 32 celled in stage. Zygote is unicellular. It is made up of a single cell. But zygote, when it divides, it forms 2 cells, 4 cells, then 8 cells. Up to 8 cells, it is called morula stage. These 8 cells embryo further divides. It forms a blastula stage, and this blastula stage is called, this structure is called blastocyst. Generally, it requires 7 days time. After a week time, the blastocyst, then where it comes inside the uterus and gets attached with the wall of uterus. And this process is called implantation. So implantation is the process of the attachment of fertilized ovum, or you can say the blastocyst, to the wall of uterus. After implantation, now the next step starts, that is called gestation. Gestation means the pregnancy period. The gestation is the time which is required for the proper development of the fetus. Or you can say when the embryo it becomes fully matured. And how many days are required? 280 days, or you can say 9 months and 10 days. This duration is called gestation period or pregnancy period. So gestation is the total time which is required for the complete development of fetus inside the mother's uterus. After the gestation period, then the fetus, it comes outside through the vagina, and this expulsion, or you can say the process of the ejection of a fully matured fetus through the vagina, and this process is called parturition, or simply you can say parturition is the process of the child birth. I will teach you in detail how the process of parturition takes place, how many hormones they are involved in the process of parturition. Actually, 2 hormones are required, oxytocin and relaxin. The oxytocin hormone is responsible for the contraction of the uterus, and therefore initially there is a mild contraction of the uterus. Later on the contraction becomes too much, and due to the contraction and relaxin hormone which relaxes the wall of uterus, and finally the fetus ejected outside to the body through the vagina. And this whole process is called parturition. I will discuss later on about the parturition, why parturition is called fetal ejection reflex. All this heading you have to study in detail. So this terminology today you have to revise about the structure of the female reproductive organ, how reproductive organ, what are their functions, and this terminology, that what is oogenesis, ovulation, fertilization. This terminology you have to learn. Then I will teach you the next topic tomorrow about the structure of sperm, the structure of ovum, then fertilization, menstruation. All these headings we will discuss later on. Please note down some of the questions and you will complete all these questions. I hope that all the boys, they are completing the assignment which I am giving daily. And if you don't have the notebooks, don't worry, don't be panic. You can write in any rough notebook if you are having. Still, if anybody has no rough notebook, they can write on the computer. They can send me online. But anyhow, just you try to do all these questions either through online or on the notebooks, but keep in continuation. You can see the lockdown is again has been extended till 3rd of May. So you start completing all the chapters on the daily basis, so you will not have the problem later on. So please now note down some of the questions. Question number 1. Define the following terms. Define the following terms and write down all these terms. Oogenesis, ovulation. Define the following terms. Oogenesis, ovulation, fertilization, implantation, gestation and parturition. These terms you have to write their definition within a line or two. Question number 2. Name the site of the fertilization. Name the site of the fertilization in human female. Name the site of the fertilization in human female. Question number 3. Question number 3. Write the functions of ovary. Write the functions of ovary. Write the functions of ovary. The next question. Make a level diagram of human female reproductive system. Make a level diagram of human female reproductive system. And the last one, what is the total time of the gestation period? What is the total time of the gestation period in human female? What is the total time of the gestation period in human female? So thanks. I will see you tomorrow.